Hello, an iconic Seattle concert venue has been officially designated as an historic landmark. Last night, the Seattle Landmarks Preservation Board voted to save the Showbox. Since it opened across from Pike Place Market in 1939, the Showbox has hosted a who's who of musical acts, including the legendary Duke Ellington, blues icon Muddy Waters, and rock legends Iggy Pop and Pearl Jam, to name just a few. Eugenia from Historic Seattle is here with us about what the vote means and what is next. Hi.
Hi.
So this is quite the saga still.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so let's start with last night. How close was that vote?
It was a unanimous vote, which is what we wanted.
So what does this vote mean? What's happened?
So last night, the Landmarks Preservation Board unanimously voted to designate the Showbox as a Seattle landmark, and they designated the entire exterior and a large portion of the interior.
Not all of it.
Not all of it.
The first couple of floors? Or
so it's a two-story building, and there's some retail spaces. So the retail spaces were not included. And so essentially the entrance sequence off of First Avenue, the lobby area, and as you go up to the main performance space, and that entire second floor was included.
Okay. So if we're not that familiar with the Showbox, new people moved to town, Showbox at the Market, tell me a little bit about why it is so legendary.
It is, the Showbox is legendary because it has so much meaning to so many people on different levels.
We're looking at some of the concerts over time. Everybody has seen a concert there, and pretty much everybody has seen some really amazing performance there.
Right. What's amazing about the Showbox is, I think the size of the venue, at about 1,100 capacity standing, is pretty special in Seattle. Is large enough, but it's also intimate enough. And so no matter where you're standing and where you're seated, you have a great view of the performers, and also the sound is fantastic.
Yeah, the experience is really good. So what does this vote mean now? I heard it was done, and I thought, okay, well, that's it. We've saved the Showbox. But you say it's more complicated than that. Where are we in this story?
In the landmark designation process, so it is a designated landmark. The next step is the city and the owner, the property owner, engages in a negotiation period called controls and incentives. It's a very wonky term.
Yep.
Essentially, the controls are what the board designated, the exterior and those portions of the interior, and the incentives are offered for landmarks, such as there's special tax valuation incentives potentially, or building and zoning code relief, and it could be eligible for grants potentially for work on the building. And so
could somebody build on top of it? Other floors?
It depends. So just because something's a designated landmark doesn't mean an owner can't do anything to their property. Historic Seattle owns 8 historic properties, and they're landmarked or on the National Register, and we make changes and rehab them and upgrade them, and those are allowed. And additions are allowed on landmarks. It just depends on what the design is and what it looks like and how big and tall it might be.
Yeah. So we kind of don't know. If the vote had gone the other way, then the Showbox was done, right?
Correct, yes.
So in this case, I mean, really, what would it take for people to say, okay, yeah, for sure that space is going to stay the same and it's going to stay open?
Well, what it takes is, as Historic Seattle, we've been involved with this advocacy effort for almost a year now, and along with a lot of community advocates, friends of the Showbox,
and local musicians.
And we've always said that landmarking is a great tool to help preserve the Showbox, but it's not. In and of itself, it won't do it because it won't preserve use. So we've always said finding a preservation-friendly buyer is the best way. And after several months of working on this, we've identified ourselves as an interested buyer. And so that's what we're really focused on. Yesterday's vote was huge. We were focused on that. And then now we've been moving forward with doing due diligence and hoping to provide an offer to the owner sometime soon.
These things are complicated now also by it being an historic landmark, right?
Yes.
I mean, you can't just say, oh, I'll buy it. There are many, many steps to pretty much everything that happens from here.
There are, and on both sides, on our side and also on the owners, and we hope to be ultimately we would love to be able to come together and announce together that the Showbox has truly been saved.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being it's there, it's everything you want, where do you expect this to fall?
At the end.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, how optimistic are you that your original goals will be met?
We're optimistic. Yeah, I wouldn't do preservation advocacy if if I wasn't optimistic about our efforts and our mission, and we're optimistic that we can do this.
Okay, is there a way that the public can support if they are indeed in favor of having the Showbox? I don't know anybody who isn't at this point because it's been so important in our lives over the years. How can they help?
Definitely. So hopefully, we'll make an offer and it gets accepted, and we'll be doing a fundraising campaign, a capital campaign, and so that'll be key. And that will involve different layers, and that will be an opportunity for all the folks who've said we love the Showbox. What can we do? How can we help for them to get engaged?
And look, we used a picture of my favorite bass player, Duff McKagan. We'll be right back.